Hello, everyone. This is Paul Hartzell. I'm the Vice President of Sales for TerraRad based in New Mexico. And our distribution partner is taskTracker. And with me today on our presentation is Gerald Flaherty, who since 1993 has been the superintendent in a number of very prominent courses. And one of the things that I've always been interested in is to find out, how was taskTracker started? How did taskTracker get to be the company that it is today, helping people manage personnel and other functions at the golf clubs?
Well, thanks, Paul. I am Gerald Flaherty. I've been a GCSAA member since 1993. And I appreciate you saying prominent courses. I have worked at a number of courses. You got that right, but some not so prominent. But, over the years, my career progressed in a nice way. And I currently, finished my career at the Valley Club. But to talk about, how did taskTracker get started? I mean, in the beginning years of my career, I used to show up to work and I would have a 3x5 index card, written down what everybody was going to do. And I would always save those index cards. And then I went to another position, and the superintendent used the daily planner. And every day he would write on the daily planner and everybody would come in and get their jobs. But the cool thing about that superintendent was there for like 37 years. So he had 37 years worth of daily planners. And I always thought that was really cool that he could go back and refer to that. So fast forwarding a little bit, and then I started getting my jobs and I was using whiteboards and everything, chalkboards, whiteboards, just like everybody does. But I always hated the fact that I couldn't, I would erase all my data on the whiteboard. So I used to use the whiteboard and a daily planner because that way I would still have record of what everybody did. It was double the work, but I liked knowing what everybody did. So going to the Valley Club, where I recently just worked, I was there in 2013, and I just thought there's got to be a better way to do things. And that's where my partner, co-founder of taskTracker, came in. And, we talked about it, and he said, I can do that. And he likes to write code. I didn't even know what that meant then. And that's where taskTracker was born. And it was really out of necessity. And we did it for me. And one of the reasons why we did it, because if you go back to 2008, when the economy was tumbling a little bit, the board brought us all in, all the department heads, and they wanted us to all reduce our budgets. But in my case, they still wanted the same standards, but they wanted to reduce my budget. And I always had a chip on my shoulder because of that. And that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to be able to defend my budget. So now with taskTracker, when they bring me into the board, I can say, well, what do you want me to reduce? I mean, do you want me to not roll greens? We can save $10,000. Maybe we don't need to rake bunkers on the weekends. We can save $3,000 annually, whatever the case may be. So that's kind of how taskTracker was born. And then, of course, over the years, I've seen lots and lots of other changes, whether it be equipment, irrigation, the culture of the golf course maintenance facility.
We'd really like to take a look today at some of the things that you can control and monitor with taskTracker. One of the things that we will talk about briefly before we conclude today's session is the ability to actually monitor course conditions and to move them in an optimal way. So taskTracker is all about making sure those people are properly assigned and that their tasks are being completed and everything is justifiable from a budget standpoint.
This is the board at the Valley Club, and this is what the crew is doing today. So this is really, this is out in the break room. This is where your whiteboard would originally hang. So we've replaced that with our 72-inch TV, and this is how it shows up at the Valley Club. Now, what's cool about this, and this is going to be a quick little overview, here's everybody on the crew and everybody's tasks that they're going to do. First task, second task, and so on, right down the line. But you can also see that we have the ability to assign equipment. So he's a mowing approaches, and he's taking John Deere number 8. He's mowing them, he's taking number 11, and so on and so on. And then behind the scenes on this now, he's taken mower number 8. Well, we also have the ability for the mechanic to go in there and create all the work orders, have all the data about that piece of equipment. So we have a very detail-oriented program for the equipment. Another thing, what you don't see here is Miguel. Miguel is, we have his wages tied in behind there. So he's mowing approaches. It knows how long he's mowing approaches. So let's say if he's making $20 an hour and he mows approaches for 4 hours, it's tracking $80 for approaches for Miguel that day. We have our mow patterns over here, our height of cuts, our weekly calendar. This is the calendar up at the clubhouse. This is what shows out in the break room. But then if you go over to here, this is our work board. And this is where the superintendent and the assistants put everybody's task in and everything like that. And then over here, down the left-hand side, we have our different pages. And one of the pages is TurfRad Insight. And then this is where we can go in and we can really monitor the moisture content of our soil and everything.
So what you're doing right now, Gerald, is you're able to navigate the entire course and look at holes that have been mowed with data having been gathered already this morning, correct?
Yes. So what we have is we have sensors on the back of our fairway mowers, Paul. So when the guys are out mowing fairways, we have 3 sensors and they're on fairway mowers. So when they're out mowing fairways, it's capturing the data, the moisture content of those particular fairways. So I'm going to show you number 5 fairway because it looks like the readings are in on this one. So you can see here's the diagram of number 5 fairway. These are overlaid on my shape files. So here's all my irrigation heads. So if I want to just hover over this, it's going to tell me that my moisture content is 21%. And the uniformity is 66%. And we took 917 readings in that particular radius from that irrigation head. So what's cool about this is the guys are still going about their business. They're mowing fairways and it's capturing data. So you can see, it's at 21%, but I know Jason has it set up. He gets an alert. Anything under 17% is where he feels uncomfortable, and it will tell him he needs to kind of get that irrigation bumped up a little bit. And then, of course, on the flip side of that, where it's turning blue, the moisture content is a little bit higher. I would go out with my handheld moisture meter readings, and I couldn't do all my approaches, but now I can look at all my approaches. And the fact of the matter is the approaches were wet. And you can see that the guys now they've addressed them and they look pretty good. So when the members hit a ball in there, it's going to bump up and run up onto the green, and that's what they want.
Gerald, it's great to be able to chat with you today. You and I are going to be creating monthly presentations where we're going to combine, I'll say, best of breed in both the use of taskTracker as well as TurfRad for optimizing playing conditions. So I look forward to future discussions with you. Once again, Gerald Flaherty and Paul Hartzell from TerraRad, and we look forward to talking with all of you in the coming months. Thanks again, Gerald.
Thanks, Paul.